winter wonderland here in Cerrito. School's been closed, so what better day to restack some images and see what we get in Sequator. Alright, so today we're going to jump into Sequator. It has a quick start guide. That's always nice to read the instructions. However, we don't always like to read instructions. We just want to jump in and go in with both feet and try to figure out things for ourselves. But it really does have some good advice. This is, first of all, if your camera will reduce long-term noises for long-term exposure, they suggest that you turn it off because it will take a long time to process between each shot and there will be long time gaps. Of course, it's going to cause problems if we have those gaps between shots. This is, don't worry about the noises because Sequator can process the noises instead of the camera by analyzing the noise images. That's a good thing. That's what we want. We want as much taken out and stacking as we can. It gives directions here. It says aim to the starry sky, take multiple non-blur pictures. That's always the goal, with proper exposure parameters. There should be some obvious and clear stars on the picture, and the picture should be well focused. It suggests manual focusing. It says larger aperture will be higher but suitable. ISO speed and proper exposure time to make stars clearer. For example, and this one states, I usually use f3.2 and ISO of 810 seconds per frame at 28 millimeters. After then, cover the lens cap to take a few noise images with the same ISO and exposure time, so darks always have to match your subjects. The noise images are almost fully black. However, we can see a few noise pictures on them. These noises are also present on the star images, so that's important to know. And Sequator will eliminate these noise images before stacking them, which is really good. So remember to prepare the noise images or darks. Otherwise, there may be some noises that are recognized as stars and will affect the stacking result. Of course, it's always good to take your darks, and you want to take your flats, or in the case of Sequator or Sequator, however you want to say it, the vignetting images. Vignetting are flats. The noise images are darks. We're so used to hearing them being called darks and flats. So we're going to jump onto the screen here and look at Sequator. We're going to stack those images that I took the night before last and see if it does better than Deep Sky Stacker. And I'm probably also going to go into Photoshop and use some of the astrophotography tool actions that can be purchased relatively cheaply and see what we can get from that. All right, so now over to the screen. All right, so now we got Sequator running. First thing I want to do is select my star images. To do that, what I do is I go up here to Star Image, right click, and then you get that little button that says Add. Click Add. Browse to, right now it's on where stacks should be, so like I said, I categorize all my subs, flats, and darks. Subject files will be my star images. Click on that. I'm just going to go ahead and select them all. I still haven't gone through to see, well, I've got some autosave and some work I did in there. I still haven't gone through to see which images were causing the issue in Deep Sky Stacker, but it should be alright. And like I said, on Sequator or Sequator, your noise images are your darks. So when you go to the darks folder, and I'm going to take all of those except for the one that the master dark that was created by Deep Sky Stacker. I'm going to add those. And vignetting images here are going to be your flats. So we'll select all of our flats, except for the master images that were made. I'm not going to use those. You can see there's another stack image that was in there, and so my file system's kind of messed up. All right, and then on the quick start guide, we've selected all of our folders. The next thing that we need to do is select our output file, which is really kind of nice because each time you get it's real convenient there to go in and name your output file. So we're going to put that under the stacks folder. I want to name this Orion SEQ, just to know that I stacked it in Sequator. Hit save. And then we have all kinds of options down here. I think the guy who built this, as you can see by the quick start guide that he was talking about, the 28, I think it was a 28 millimeter lens. So obviously that's for like the Milky Way photos. So it seems like it may even be geared more to that. Okay, under composition, we want to align stars. There's all kinds of things you can do in here for like the Milky Way. You can freeze the ground, you can like create a gradient line across, do all kinds of neat things like that. As you can see, it automatically built this base image here, and that's the base image that all of your stars are going to be aligned to. So we'll just go ahead and leave that there. I'm going to turn auto brightness on. For high dynamic range, I'm going to turn that on. I'm going to turn on remove dynamic noise. I will turn on complex on reduce distortion effects, because you have tele or complex. On light pollution, I'm going to turn that on, and I shot this in a really high borderable sky. So here on light, reduce light pollution, I want to go for deep sky. I want to go to a click over. It was in the middle between weak and strong. I'm going to go one click over towards strong and see what that does. You can enhance the starlight, which you probably don't want to enhance the starlight if you're doing deep space. So then, now I have all those selected. The only thing left to do now is to click start and wait. And you'll notice one thing about Deep Sky Stacker, about Sequator, that is different than Deep Sky Stacker. This is what I meant to say, is that Sequator takes a lot less time to build an image. Of course, I'm going to pause the video so I don't bore you with that. And we're going to look at the end and see how long that it actually took to build the image. So let's pause the video now and come back. All right, so this is gonna jump around a little bit. It says 38 seconds are remaining, but that'll jump back up. It usually does. 11:38, 11:40 so far have elapsed. So as you can see, this is much, much, much faster than Deep Sky Stacker, and you're going to be here with me for the big reveal to see what the final stacking result is. We'll get to see this together at the same time. Is it going to be a disaster, or is it going to be awesome? We don't know until I hit that close button. The computer just let me know it's completed successfully. Okay, so that process took a little bit there, about 11 minutes, much faster than Deep Sky Stacker. Pretty impressed with the result. It looks a lot better than the image, just the auto image that Deep Sky Stacker generates. Right out of the gate, it looks pretty good. Right out of the gate, I can clearly see here Horsehead, parts of it. I can see the Flame Nebula. There's a lot more nebula down here at the bottom of M42. I can clearly see Running Man. So I'm going to go ahead and open this in Photoshop, and we're just going to run through real quick with APT, Astro Photography, not tools, but actions. Astro Photography, it says Astronomy Tools 1.6 is what I have. So we're going to open this image. It's not in my subs folder. It is going to be in the stacks. So then we find Orion SEQ, and for some reason in Sequator, sometimes it does it. It doesn't always do this, but sometimes it does for me. It'll rotate the image on me, so I'll just go in here and fix that. I'll go to rotate it back around. So we just go down here to Image, rotate Canvas. I'm going to go 90 degrees. Wrong way. I want to go counterclockwise, not clockwise. So let's see. 90 degrees counterclockwise. There we go. You might want it clockwise, you might not. I kind of like it there. What I like to do right off the bat, we can see I have all this hue once again over here on the side of the image, which came across during stacking, or it could be something with the camera. So right out of the gate, I'm going to go ahead and crop that. And this is turned sideways on me, probably because of the original orientation. So we'll flip that around and select what I want. I don't want so much of that bottom area, so I'll shrink this down. And then when you're finished with the image, you can always go back in and crop it again. You can crop it down to where it'll post online, because a lot of times if you're trying to post this like to a Facebook page or something, it won't do it because of the size of it. So I've cropped that, hit the crop button again and say crop. And this also, once again it flipped it, this also helps when you're trying to edit the image, because you don't have quite as much as you're dealing with there. So now I'm just going to kind of window this so it's not, so I can adjust the size so I can see what I'm working with. Okay, so we can already see in here Horsehead's pretty visible. Real quick, what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, and Levels. I'm going to try to just bring this up a bit, which the difference on this, well, you can see it really comes out. Look at that. The difference on this than in PixInsight is you don't have to create a preview window. You just have this little button, and by default it's already clicked. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring that up to about right there, and that'll be the first stretch. Okay, I'm going to go and do a real quick curves adjustment. We're going too far, I'll wind up with purple stars. The good thing about that is the tools over here, you can actually run that and get rid of some of those purple stars. Now I'm going to go ahead and go to just the light pollution. With these, you have these little check marks. And you know, when I first got these, it's really funny because I got these astronomy tools and I had no idea. I'm not an image guy. I was a IT guy. I worked on networks. I was a Microsoft certified network engineer, MCSE, and all that. I never really messed with Photoshop, so I didn't know this. But you can check that, and then you can move down here to the first item, and there's a little play button right here. See, what I was doing before was I was going through every single thing one at a time and double clicking them, and it was killing me. It was taking forever. But these tools were meant to save time, and that was the sell on me, was, oh, they'll save you so much time. And then when I said, this is not saving any time at all, I might as well just do this manually. But you could just hit that little play button down there, and then you can see it's doing everything. And I just go with the whatever it's set to. I'll just go ahead and say okay and run it there. Wow, I see a lot of green up there for some reason. Okay. So you know, I might even take this image later over into PixInsight. I might decide to try to get some of that green out of the background. Now it already looks really good to me. It's a little carried away over here. Some other things I want to do to it, just for the purposes of this. I'm going to make the stars smaller. And of course, you see I already have that checked, so I'm just going to... But first, before I do that, what's good a lot of times is to duplicate the image. I'll make a copy. Just in case I don't like the result, then I don't have to go back and mess with this. So I'm going to run that. And it looks a little bright right now, but I'm going to go back in and I'm going to tone it down quite a bit in the levels before I try to finalize the image. And we've made them a little less there. It's still really, really noisy. Like I say, I'm not too savvy. I'm not going to do a whole lot of adjustments on this, just to kind of give you the idea of some of the things you can do really quick to fix some things. I'm going to go ahead now and increase star color. And again, I'm going to duplicate this before I do that. And you can see, you can really get through an image quite quickly and make adjustments really fast. This one takes a little bit longer, but not near as long as it would take me to figure all this stuff out and to go in and do it manually. So it's kind of spoiled me because I won't do that. But wow, look at Horsehead down here. I like when that line starts to develop. I've got a lot of purple stars here, but we'll definitely tone that out when this little line starts to pop up. I think that's really neat. And I had to excuse my furnace. Like I said, it's a snow day and it's snowing outside. So let's see, what else do I want to do to this image before we end this video? Could enhance deep space objects and reduce stars. I don't think I'll do that. You can do the star diffraction, but as you can see, there's already spikes on my stars from the camera, which is really cool. So one thing I'll do right now is just kind of go in and adjust the levels again. I'm going to throw them back down quite a bit. I'm actually going to drag this side just to tone it down a bit. And I still have not lost that little spot there, but I still have purple stars. So then I'm going to go in and I'm going to reduce the purpleness. I've ran just about all these actions to see what they do. Some of them absolutely destroy your image. I guess there's always a need for them, but I'm gonna go in first and reduce the small violet. Let's go ahead and duplicate this again. I'll have like a million of these things duplicated, and then sometimes I'll go back and look at them and say, well, this is the one I'm going to keep. I'm just not even going to keep the other ones. So that's running now. Boom, 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 boom. It just goes right through. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. That's gotten rid of a lot of the purple. So I did the small blue violet. Now I'm going to go do the large blue. I'm not even going to duplicate it this time because I think I like it. And it's not going to be a perfect image. I'm not editing it for perfection. I'm just editing it to go through as quickly as possible. So yeah, I think I like that. I mean, that's good enough for me. So I'm just going to go in here again. I'm going to make an adjustment on this, and I'll probably clip a lot of the data because I'm just going for appearance right now. But I'm going to tone it down some more, just to kind of get rid of the noise. So I'll do that. Remember, I shot this on a 135, a Samyang 135. So excuse the phone there. What I'll do here is I'm going to duplicate this image again. I'm just going to crop this portion out. So I just want to focus on just 142. So I'll go ahead and crop just 142. Or I'm sorry, 42. M42. You can see there's still a lot of purple halos on that. Rotate the canvas again. So maybe I'll just take this and run reduction of small violet and see what happens. I've still got the image upside down. That's okay. We are just beginning, and if you're beginning in astrophotography with me, and that's awesome. Especially if you know how to edit, you know, I could always use the advice on that. You know, 180 degrees. There we go. Now we're back upright. Yeah, there's still some really big purple pits that I don't really like on that. So I'm gonna run this on it. I'm gonna run large now and see if we get rid of some of that. Which really, if you're gonna post it up online, it's not gonna matter anyway, because it's reduced so much once you do go post it. All right, well, I guess that's about as good as I'm gonna get with that. Maybe I can do something with the levels. Helps a little bit, but not much. Let's kind of do a curves adjustment. I didn't really want to get this deep into it. There we go. Now it's starting to get rid of some of that. And then we'll go in and desaturate this a little bit. Actually taking things down to try to correct it. Okay. Reduce hue, reduce saturation. Well, too much, I'll start getting green. I actually want to increase there. It's just a game to play with it and see how you can get as best you can. Like I said, this is a crop portion from a 135 lens. So I'm just going to go ahead and save this part of it. Save as, and I'm going to go up here. I'm going to do processed. Processed. M42 only. There we go. So we've got that bit there. Let's see how bad I can mess up Horsehead now. So I'm gonna go into it and just work with it up close. The whole image, of course, being shot at 135 is going to look much better as a whole as it is now. Before I do that, I need to duplicate this so I'm not actually cropping my original image that I was working with. Okay. Wow, it really went purple. Whoops. All right. Let's make that a little bit bigger here. Let's kind of capture a lot of this over here. I'll capture this other star too. And then I'm going to crop this. Alright, and of course I'm going to need to rotate the canvas again. This time we'll go counterclockwise. Image adjustments. We're going to mess with levels and see what we got. Too dark. That's probably good. Let's see. Let's kind of play around and see what looks fairly decent. Like I said, it's a big crop portion of Orion, which really you need like a 300 millimeter lens to just target on these areas and focus on them. Not a 135. A 135 is is a wider field than this, but it's still just kind of interesting to bring these things out and see what they look like. So we'll call this Horsehead. All right. Close that out, and then I'm going to save off this image as just Orion wide. And that's it. That's pretty much all I'll do with this. It's a real quick edit. It's not a very pretty one at all. There is so much more I can do to this. I blew it way out by hurrying through it. But you can see, you can literally tinker on these things for hours and hours and hours, and until you get exactly what you believe looks good. But if you're just going to, like I said, if you're just going to post these up online, it's going to reduce the quality when you post it, just say to something like Facebook or Instagram. What you can do is you can post this, or you can transfer it over to your phone, and if you have that app on your phone, Photoshop Express, there's like HDR, there's all kinds of ways to kind of dress them up before you put them out there. So that's it in a nutshell. That's Sequator or Sequator, however you want to say it, stacking, and a real quick processing, but that wound up being much longer than anticipated. All right, clear skies. God bless.